Good morning, everybody. Joe Ciaccio here. Today, middle of November, things that we need to kind of stay abreast on, things we need to be acclimated to. What's happening, we got more competition out there. When I started doing this 28 years ago, you had a handful of carriers, a handful of agents, and leads that were supplied at a very less expensive price. So what we're trying to do now is that we're trying to do the same thing as before, yet you've got more people there and you're paying a higher price for a lead. So the topic of the conversation today is working your leads till they bleed. Agent calls me last week, him and I on the phone talking, works for another company. He's going to start working with us. And I said, give me an example of one of the folks you just signed up. So he said, Joe, I've got a 43-year-old male, good health, non-smoker. I got him a $25,000 policy with waiver of premium, it becomes disabled, and an accidental rider of $25,000. He told me the price was $52 and change. So I said, man, we can beat that price. So I put the old thinking cap on, and I said, who would go down to age 43? So the first person that came to my mind was Liberty Bankers. So I looked at Liberty Bankers, did the exact same thing. Their price came in at $61. They were higher. So I was kind of stumped. So I took a step back and I said, I know I got something. So I started thinking. And this is something I want you guys to start making mental notes on, to make yourself notes on the side to where you have a go-to company, which is good. Primarily what I'm talking about now is that if you go into a home, somebody already has a policy, you just bought a lead, and they said, well, I just kind of wanted to see what you had. So instinct is, my favorite company is this carrier, this carrier, this carrier. You run to that one there, the price is too high, you get upset, you leave. Now, if you do leave, you need to get with your manager to tell them, listen, this is what happened. I did this is what they had. What can you suggest? What did I do wrong? What could I have done better? This is what I figured out when I was on the phone with him. So I said, damn, I know Royal Neighbors goes down that amount. So I went to Royal Neighbors Jet Issue. They got a Jet Issue whole life and a Jet Issue term product. Put in the exact same information, and it came back at, hold on a second, it came back at $41.08. So a difference of, like, let's say $11. It came down lower. 43 male, non-tobacco, $25,000, waiver premium, accidental death rider, $25,000, comes in $11 less. Now, the agent can say, do I flip it or do I add to it? Before you flip a policy, when you go to somebody's house, you need to, I'm going to caution you, because if they've had it for more than 2 years, they've gone past their contestability, which means that if something happens to them, they're going to automatically get the check. Anything over 2 years, they get the check. Something within 2 years, something comes up, they may not get a check because you may have shortcutted the application process. Well, Joe, it got issued, the carrier issued it. Well, yes, the carriers do everything by computers. When somebody dies, they're not going to request medical records from the doctor, which is hardcore facts. And those facts are what it's going to be. Yes, we pay less than 2 years, or no, we don't. So do I say don't flip? Not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is be cautious, kind of make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's and do a little bit more digging. So exact same coverage, $11 less. He's not going to do this here. Him and I were just talking. He's going to be able to flip that policy if he wants to go back and do it. All depends on what the agent wants to do. Now, I'm going to give you another example. Before I give you the next example, Transamerica has a product called their Lifetime Whole Life Less Expensive Rates. Whenever you go to a carrier, even your favorite carrier, let's say Transamerica is your go-to company and you use their regular solutions product, and you say, Joe, I need to save some money for the client, and you decide to go to their less expensive one. Less expensive pricing equals harder underwriting. Could be with diabetics, could be with neuropathy, it could be with COPD. So just because you know they qualify for a simplified issue means they're charging a little bit higher premiums, yet your client's going to get a policy based on their health, depending on what carrier you put them with. Trans has one, Foresters has an Advantage Plus 2, United Home Life has a provider, Rural Neighbors has the Jet Whole Life Term, and Jet Whole Life and Term, yes. There's other carriers we got, I'm not going to go through every single one of them. When you're in a home, somebody already has something, or somebody says, I've got prices from somebody else, and they can show you. I'm not 100% on going with the cheapest thing I got, okay? My job is to go with something that the client's going to get coverage on. The client does not have a rate calculator in front of them saying, well, Joe, you did me this carrier here, I could have gone with this carrier here, and got something for less. They don't have that. What's going to happen is that if somebody comes in behind you and shows them something less expensive, then you run a chance of losing it. Yet, does that happen? Yes. Does it happen often? No. Make sure you tell your clients before somebody comes in and switches your policy to at least give you a courtesy call, okay? Because they may have come out with a new product that you're going to get a hold of them and you're going to get with them about changing them just as well. Now, you're in the house and you're saying the person already has a policy. And they've got a policy for I'm going to look at my notes here. They got a policy for, right now, they're 57 years old, they got a $50,000 policy. They want to add to it, they want to save money. They got the policy 3 years ago. 3 years ago, they're paying $120 a month, 54 female, non-smoker, $50,000. Okay, price is irrelevant, yet important. So now you're going to sit and say, well, what can I do? So you're going to go look at two of your carriers, either give them 2 for 25, 1 for 35, 1 for 15, 1 for 40, 1 for 10. You're going to try to plug and play to where you can make a sale. Name of the game, make the client happy. Make them feel good, and in return, you're going to make a sale. So you go in there and you go, damn, I can't beat that price. It's been 3 years ago. He got a $50,000 program. There's nothing I can do. You've exhausted everything. You looked up Rural Neighbors. You looked up all these other carriers. You don't know what to do. I'm going to tell you the little rabbit in the hat trick right now. There's a company we got called Mutual of Omaha. And before I tell you about the product, you got to understand the underwriting is more diligent. You got to be more diligent with these questions, because you just can't buzz through the questions. Because when you show a client something that is less expensive and it doesn't come through, now it's going to be hard for you to tell them, listen, I got something for you, but it's going to cost you $30 a month more. They don't want to talk to you. You've already given them the steak, the potatoes, the bread, the onions, the whole 9 yards. Now you're saying you can't have that there. Now you got to have a steak. And people don't want that. So before you quote a price with any carrier, anybody, no matter what the situation is, please tap those brakes a little bit. Go a little bit slower. Be more diligent on the underwriting, because you'll end up making more sales instead of running your mouth too soon, telling them a price, and say, oh, you can't have it because I didn't ask you enough questions. Now, this is primarily for somebody who is in good health. High blood pressure, cholesterol, really not a problem when it comes to these here. I looked it up, and I see over here with Mutual of Omaha's Index Universal Life Express. Express means that there's no paramed. You write the application, they do an MIB, they do an RX check, they do a driving test, client's okay, you get the policy. So the client's paying $120 a month for $50,000. So I said, they're 3 years old, they're 57, IUL, $74 and change. Basically a $50 difference. Now, do you say $50 difference and give them the same thing? Or do you sit and say, you know, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, what I have is another company that I do a lot of business with. Based on your health, I think I can get you qualified. What I want to do is ask you all the health questions to make sure that if we do decide to make a move, my job is to make sure that you're satisfied and then it makes you feel good, because to me it's the cost versus the price, okay? The price may be one thing, and we got to make sure that we take care of the price today to where it doesn't cost your children, your spouse anything when that sad day comes. So our job today is to try to get a program, tailor make it to where you get immediate benefits. God forbid something happens to you in 2-3 months, your wife, your children are going to have all this money. So now you're looking at $120 a month. The same one 3 years later is $74 a month. Now I said to myself, why should I take a $50 hit when they're satisfied paying that $120? This is what I recommend you to do. Say, you know something, I see how you're paying $120. How would you like if I was to get you 50% more coverage? Take you from $50,000 to $75,000, and I'm going to save you $12 a month. Okay? Now you can go $80,000 and be the same thing. Yet I don't like to get too greedy. I've got no sale. They're happy with what they got. I'm showing them something better. Let me kind of save him some money. I'm bringing in now $1,300 worth of annualized premiums. Don't get greedy. Now, Index Universal Life Mutual, a little bit tougher on underwriting. I had an agent 3-4 months ago, said the client couldn't afford nothing, so I had to give him that one there, and the client was declined. What happens, now the agent is kind of caught between a rock and a hard stone, because the agent gave the low price. Now the agent can't come back. Well, the agent can come back and did and say, I got to get you something else, but it's going to cost more. The client said, I don't want that. I want that one there. So this is why when you go to somebody's house, they already have something. They're shopping around. They show you a quote from somebody else that's legitimate. And your go-to company is XYZ. And you run a quick quote. And you cannot beat that price. Now, if that's you, they buy from you because they like you. You got to find out why they didn't buy before. Why didn't they pull the trigger before the other agent? Okay? That's homework you've got to do. Yet you're in the house, they've got something, and you said, myself, they don't want to buy more, but what can I do if I can save them money? Okay? See what options are there to either get some cash value back, get some paid up insurance, or get some extended term. 3 different things on the non-forfeiture of the application. Whenever you want to switch a plan and you're going to go into a lower cost program, please make sure you ask all the questions. And ask them, have you had a heart attack in the last 5 years? And they go, well, no, I haven't. Now you need to sit and say, why did it take you so long to answer that question? So now you've got to sit and say, well, did you ever have a heart attack? Now you're going off the application onto your own application. Say, have you ever had a heart attack? Yes, I did. How long ago was it? Well, I'm really not too sure, when it was. I think it was 5 years ago. So now you've got to sit and do something. You're 57 years old. Were you 52? What event took place? Was it around Christmas time? How old do you think your daughter was? How old do you think your wife was, to try to find out if it was 5 years or more? Due diligence. You got to do it because your job is to take care of the client. And by taking care of the client and doing the right thing, when something happens, because they're going to die, that's the only guarantee I can give you in life, is that we're going to die, is that their family is taken care of. And when you put your head down at nighttime, you're saying, I did the right thing. A little saying I got a long time ago is that there's no pillow so soft as a clear conscience. So when you're in a home, just make sure you do the right thing. You take your time. You do what's best for the client. And believe it or not, the sales will follow right behind you. Okay, guys, make it a great day. Call us back if you need us. Take care. Bye-bye.